How France is shaking up global trade. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with our latest videos. We're talking tariffs, trade wars, and a whole lot of economic tension, especially with France making some bold moves, like seriously bold. The US dropped some tariffs aiming to protect their industries, but France, they didn't even blink. They fired back with countermeasures, and now the whole global trade game is scrambling. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. This is about the cars we drive, the prices we pay, and the future of the auto industry as we know it. We're talking a deep dive into 7 key factors that are shaping this whole situation, from France's response and its ripple effect on global trade to what it all means to the big players in the auto world. We're unpacking how this trade war is different, how it's playing out, and what it means for the future. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. No time for games. So, picture this. Early 2025, the U.S. slaps a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports. The goal is to protect American manufacturers. Makes sense, right? But here's where things get spicy. France, under the leadership of President Macron, basically said, nope, not going to happen. They weren't about to let their industries take a hit without a fight. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot made it crystal clear that France and the entire European Union were ready to throw down. They weren't going to just sit back and watch their industries get undercut. And this is where it gets real for the auto world. Steel and aluminum, those are the building blocks of cars. Higher costs for those materials translate directly to more expensive cars for you and me, and for the manufacturers. Forget about it. Shrinking profit margins, production headaches, the whole 9 yards. France's message was loud and clear. You want to play hardball? We can play hardball. A new power player emerges too. While the US and EU were busy throwing punches, China saw an opening. With US-EU trade relations on shaky ground, China saw the moment to strengthen its ties with France. And we're not talking about some small-time deal here. In 2023 alone, trade between France and China hit a massive $78.9 billion. That's not a typo. We're talking an 800-fold increase over 6 decades. But it's not just about the numbers. When President Macron visited Beijing in 2023, it was more than just a photo op. They hammered out 18 major agreements spanning everything from aviation and agriculture to, you guessed it, automotive technology. This is where things get really interesting for French automakers. We're talking about joint ventures, sharing cutting-edge tech, and tapping into a market that's exploding with potential. And with China dominating the EV battery scene, this partnership could be a game-changer, helping to offset any blows from the U.S. trade war. It's not just about picking a side. It's about survival in a changing world. Here's the thing about tariffs. They're not just about making things more expensive. They create a ripple effect that can disrupt entire industries. Take the European auto supply chain. For example, remember those steel and aluminum tariffs? Yeah, those threw a wrench into the whole system. Parts that used to flow freely between suppliers and manufacturers are now stuck in a web of red tape, higher costs, and uncertainty. Even Airbus, the aerospace giant, is feeling the heat. Their CEO, Guillaume Faury, basically said, look, if doing business with the U.S. is going to be this much of a headache, we might have to start prioritizing other customers. That's a big deal. It's forcing automakers to rethink their entire game plan. Do they find new suppliers, move production elsewhere, or pass those rising costs on to consumers? And here's the other big question. What happens if those higher prices scare away buyers? It's a high-stakes game of chess, and the stakes just got even higher. Oh, and before we get into the next chapter, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring you more of this in-depth analysis, and I really appreciate it. Chapter 4. The EU stands strong, a united front. Now, France isn't in this fight alone. This isn't just a French revolution. It's a full-on European Union showdown. Macron is rallying the troops, pushing for a united front against what he sees as unfair U.S. trade practices. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when the EU digs in its heels, it doesn't back down easily. This is personal for the European auto industry, which, by the way, is a global powerhouse. They are not about to let a trade war derail their success. A prolonged standoff means chaos, disrupted supply chains, skyrocketing production costs, and a serious blow to Europe's competitive edge. So, while diplomats are busy trying to hash things out, Brussels is getting ready to fire back with its own set of tariffs if it has to. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, and both sides are holding firm. Chapter 5. France plays a long game, diversifying and conquering. With the U.S. trade landscape looking more like a minefield than a level playing field, France and the EU are getting proactive. They are not just sitting around waiting for the other shoe to drop. They are actively diversifying their economic alliances. Instead of putting all their eggs in the American basket, they are looking east, and China is looking like a pretty good bet for the auto industry. This isn't just about damage control. It's about seizing a golden opportunity. Building new partnerships opens doors to exciting possibilities, tapping into emerging markets, collaborating on next-level tech, and reducing their dependence on the U.S. market. If they play their cards right, this strategic shift could be a game-changer, giving European manufacturers the stability and resilience they need to thrive in an increasingly unpredictable world. Chapter 6. The U.S. and EU. Can this friendship be saved? Let's be real. Guys, this whole trade war isn't just about numbers and tariffs. It's about something much bigger, the relationship between the U.S. and the EU. And right now, that relationship is going through a rough patch. This isn't just some diplomatic spat. This is about trust, cooperation, and the ability to tackle global challenges together. And the auto industry, it's right in the crosshairs. European automakers send hundreds of thousands of vehicles to the U.S. every year, but slap a 25% tariff on those cars, and suddenly that market access dries up, forcing them to reconsider their investments and look for friendlier shores, like, say, China. But it goes beyond cars. If this economic tug-of-war continues, it could push the EU further into China's orbit, diminishing U.S. influence on the world stage. It's a lose-lose situation, with both sides facing long-term economic instability.